Greetings and welcome to the Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Nile, and let's talk about some basketball. First of all, before we get into anything, don't forget, my autobiography, Everything is Impossible, is still available for purchase, as well as merchandise. Links in the description. And if all goes well, Volume 1 of my comic book, Toxic, will be available for sale by the end of the month. It's in process. It's just one or two things to work out, and it'll be out there. So, let's talk about basketball and what's been happening. First thing I want to talk about is, I agree with what the guys on Inside the NBA. You might as well just put John Morant's name on that Rookie of the Year trophy. He came out with a bang, and he's just been getting better and better as the season goes on. Grizzlies have shocked me. They've won the last 4 in a row, and they just jumped into the playoffs. And, I should mention, I'm recording this at 11:57 on Saturday, January 11th. I cannot guarantee when I'll upload this. So some of this information may have changed by the time that it goes up. But anyways, the Grizzlies, they're performing better than I thought they would. I figured the Grizzlies and the Thunder, you figured this is a rebuilding year for both of those teams. And I felt like even with Westbrook and Paul George, they still really couldn't do anything in the Western Conference So, as much as I appreciate Chris Paul, he is, one of the best point guards to ever play in the NBA. And that's, he's of all the ones who don't have a championship, he's definitely top 3. But he's old. And even when he was at his peak, with an incredible team around him, he still struggled to win in the playoffs. So now, I figured the Thunder were ready to just give up, let his contract expire, get their way into the lottery. They seem like they're actually trying, which is probably why you're hearing rumors that maybe they want to move some of the veterans and start preparing for the next decade, which it would make sense if from a business standpoint for management, but because let's be honest, once again, respect Chris Paul, but the Thunder, even if they get into the playoffs, more than likely it would be a 7 or 8 seed, and there's a good chance that no matter who gets that 7th or 8th seed in the West, they're both going to get swept. So, from that perspective, the Grizzlies, they've got John Morant, a building block that they can prepare for the future with. But CP3 is not that. And Steven Adams, he's been around for a while as well. Do they feel like they have that face of the franchise on their roster right now? If not, you might see them making some moves with these older guys. Or they could decide, hey, playoffs are still better than not playoffs and keep trying for it. But once again, from a business standpoint, that doesn't seem to make as much sense. Meanwhile, you look at the teams that, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Grizzlies stay in. I don't know if I can say I expect it at this point in time. That being said, if the Grizzlies and Thunder, I think 1 through 6 is pretty much set. I think, barring a catastrophic injury like with Jokic or someone else big ending up on injured reserve, I think 1 through 6, who knows, maybe some positions will shift, but all of those guys are getting in. And then of the teams that are not in the playoffs right now, Spurs, because they've been holding steady. They're not what they're supposed to be, but they've played better lately, and it's frustrating because they're capable of beating the best teams in the league, but they're also capable of losing to the worst teams in the league. So still not sure how to feel about them. And, Blazers too. You keep waiting for them to figure it out, get it all together, and it just keeps not happening. So I don't know. Once again, 7 through 8, it's very much up in the air. I think there's 5 teams within 3 games of each other in the standings. And none of them are winning the championship, so it doesn't really matter that much anyways. Why are we going to spend months speculating? So, in the Eastern Conference, meanwhile, the Heat are the only team I want to give some love to. Bucks, they were number one seed last year. I expected them to be number one seed this year. They've got a young team. Well, most of them are young players that are still developing and growing. Giannis, as scary as he is, he's still got room for improvement. So Bucks are doing well. Sixers, they're doing what I expected. Raptors, there were some people who figured Kawhi leaving would drop them out completely. But, they're doing about as well as I expected. I think the Pacers are slightly outperforming, only slightly, but I figured they'd be floating at least around 500 until Oladipo got back. So they are doing slightly better than I thought, but I never thought they'd be horrible, because they were a half-decent team last year without their superstar. So I figured they'd be half-decent this year. And Jimmy Butler, apparently he's better than I gave him credit for. I've always known he's great, but he seems to be acquiring superstar status this year. Good chance he ends up at the All-Star game. And he's a guy that, I remember when he came into the league, he was kind of an afterthought with the Bulls. He was just, it's some guy there to annoy the ball carrier on defense, but his game keeps developing. And you're seeing some leadership skills there as well. The Heat are in, they're in shouting range of first place. They're not going to overtake them this month, but there is enough time left in the season that if the Bucks manage to falter just a little, the Heat could conceivably overtake them. That being said, for right now, the Bucks are firmly entrenched in first place. So barring any sort of catastrophic failure, major injuries, stuff like that, I don't see them slipping out. But I got to give all credit to the Heat for how well they've done. I almost figured going from Dwayne Wade to Butler would be more of a lateral move. But once again, Butler, better than I gave him credit for. And then the one thing I want to end on is the feud going on between Perk and KD. For those who don't know, Westbrook, they had a ceremony honoring him when he returned to OKC for the first time, and they had a video tribute and stuff. And KD and Kendrick Perkins came up and said, Westbrook is Mr. Thunder, and then someone called him out about how you gonna say he's the best player ever, with Durant. And then, he said something back, Durant said something back. There's all this shit going on there. I'm not going to cover the whole story. But basically, what I want to say is, I'm agreeing with Kendrick Perkins, and here's why. We're not debating on how good Kevin Durant is. We're debating on who meant more to the franchise. Was Kevin Durant the face of the franchise when he was with the Thunder? Yes. But there's a reason why Russell Westbrook is the first Thunder player ever to receive a video tribute. Okay? Kevin Durant's been back in that building multiple times. They did not give him that tribute. I feel like that's enough said right there. It's... Because first of all, I've heard people say, Kevin, how can you say Kevin's not the best ever? Well, it's not about how good he is. He's one of the top in the league when he comes back healthy. But he left. That's all there is to it. Pure and simple, he left. Doesn't matter why. Even though that is a big factor in it, it's about the fact that he left. And West, if the team hadn't wanted to move on, there's a good chance Russell would have just stayed with this team till he retired. We can't say for sure that he would have, but there's at least potential there. Whereas Kevin, he went and left. And I've just got to say, for the record, I've held my tongue for the most part, I feel like, on this. But Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors was the biggest bitch move that's ever happened in the history of basketball. Let's be real here, because I've heard arguments about, should players be chasing rings? And on the one hand, I agree with people who say that's the whole point of playing. There is some truth to that statement. But, there are players who, they used to be superstars, but now they're getting older and they know they're not what they used to be. They're willing to take less money and less playing time to finish off their career with a ring. And the reason why Kevin Durant doing this is a bitch move is because this is a player at the height of his abilities, who he was the face of this franchise. And he left for a team that had a two-time MVP, 2 straight finals appearances, including a win, set a record 73 regular season wins. That's why, okay? Because, with the Kawhi thing, there's a bitter taste in my mouth because of how it all went down. But I respect it, though. I still respect him choosing to just want to go home. He went to a team that, honestly, the Clippers and the Spurs basically in the same position. They're half-decent teams with an elite coach that need the superstar to put them over the top. We had him. He didn't play. We got rid of him. Now he's over there, and they're the number 2 seed in the league. Everyone talks about LeBron leaving to Miami, and everyone in Ohio had a reason to be pissed at him, and I understand, but I still respect him slightly more because because more than anything else, he went back. He went to Miami so he could learn how to win because he was with a shitty-ass organization that did nothing to help him. Because in the past 20 years, Cleveland has drafted exactly 2 half-decent players in LeBron and Kyrie. And that's it. And they didn't get Kyrie till after LeBron left. I feel like management in Cleveland has never been the best in the league. I think, and even picking LeBron was a risky thing at the time. I don't know if you can say for sure that an 18-year-old kid would definitely have been as amazing as he is now. But it was a gamble that paid off. But that's why, it's hard to that I still respect the skill. It's hard to respect him as a person, as a figure, when KD, once again, the face of the franchise, goes to another franchise that already proved, hey, we can do this without you. And is he going to the Hall of Fame? Yes, no one's going to dispute that. But at the end of the day, it was still a bitch move. And, just, with Kawhi, the reason... we're going because the whole thing we're going about with Russell Westbrook, and why, he got the video tribute, and why he is Mr. Thunder, and good chance he could end up getting his jersey retired in there, and Kevin Durant won't, for the same reason that, Kawhi might not get his jersey retired with San Antonio, because, hey man, Tim Duncan is the face of the Spurs. Why? He literally has never played for any team other than San Antonio. Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, and we'll forgive Tony for that last year because he still gave us a good 16. And so, these are people who dedicated their entire career to playing for a franchise, okay? And that's the one thing with Durant. He left when he realized how hard it is, and he decided to take the easy way out. There's nothing wrong with pursuing a championship, but he took the easiest possible route. Because that's one thing Shaq said about every time he was in free agency. He went out of his way to look for a team that needed him. The Warriors definitely did not need Durant. But whatever, that's my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion, but no, it's not about the numbers, how good you were, how much of an impact you had. It's about loyalty. And it's about the love and respect that the fan base has for you, that the management has for you, that your teammates have for you. And a lot of people won't forgive Kevin for the way he left, just like a lot of people in San Antonio might never forgive Kawhi for the way he left. Like me personally with Kawhi, my biggest issue is that he said nothing. And we have no idea what's going on, what to believe. It's a situation we haven't been in before. Do we believe the stories or do we believe in this man? That I know he's a good person. I'm not doubting that. But the way everything was handled was just frustrating. Because it's a guy that we were expecting him to be a lifer. He was supposed to be the face of the franchise with Tim and all the others retiring. And now out of nowhere, he's just once out. And no one knows why. It's frustrating. And, you lose that connection to the fan base. That's the biggest thing. Because the fans in OKC still love Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant lost that love, lost that respect. That's why Russell Westbrook is Mr. Thunder. So, yeah, I got to agree with Kendrick Perkins on that point he made. So, yeah, that's just my opinion. And that's going to be the end of this video. I said I was going to start making these more often. Unfortunately, I forgot we're about to enter the busiest month of the season. I've got Restaurant Week coming up. I've got Valentine's Day. It's tax season as well. And I'm trying to get Toxic out. So, I might not make another video till March. But, hope we'll get this thing going. Get you geared up and ready for the playoff run. So, yeah, until the next time you see me in a video, my name is Nathan Lyle. This has been The Pen Perspective. Hope you have a great day. And if you get the chance, go to some of the links in the description. Buy my autobiography. Buy yourself some merchandise. And, help me make some money because I'm dead broke.